Thank you, Chairman Cole, Ranking Member DeLauro. Thank you for this opportunity to recommend another amendment that is vital to our veterans.
Would the gentleman like us to dispense with the reading?
I'd like to, I do have an amendment at the desk.
Thank you. The gentleman asked that we dispense with the remarks, so gentleman's recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, veterans are at a 58% higher risk of suicide than those who have not served. The suicide hotline has become a critical resource for the veterans in crisis. As of April 2024, 7.7 million calls, 941,000 chats, and 377,000 text messages have led to a referral of more than 1.5 million veterans to suicide prevention coordinators. The suicide hotline receives approximately 2,100 calls a day, and that has steadily increased through the recent addition of text message capability. The suicide hotline is especially important for veterans that reside in rural areas where depression levels are higher and access to health care is more difficult. I know it's true in my district. Half of my district is urban, but the other half is rural, and there are veterans all across that district. When DOGE announced the federal firings, my offices in my district and here in D.C. received calls by veterans advocacy groups concerned about the suicide hotline and the potential that it would have to being shut down or having the services degraded. Veterans' lives were at stake, they all said. I was alarmed at Secretary Collins' admission to firing 24 suicide hotline employees erroneously, he said. We don't know when exactly they were fired, for how long, or if all of these essential workers were all hired back. Veterans have demonstrated this is a critical resource, and it deserves accountability for the actions that led to those firings to make sure that it does not happen again. Errors require accountability. The Secretary himself said these firings were erroneous. The amendment will provide that accountability. I'm asking for our committee to require the Government Accountability Office to conduct a report that provides this committee, but more importantly, our veterans population, the number of suicide hotline employees that were fired and the impact on veterans, to include wait times, the number of suicides during the period of reduced support. That is the period from January 2025 to June of 2025. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment as a demonstration of good faith to our veterans that we will hold the Department of Veterans Affairs responsible for a lapse in care where the consequences could be and may have been a veteran's life. With that, I'll yield back and urge the adoption of the amendment.